Today we're going to make a deep dish style pizza. We're going to do it in an iron skillet. We're going to cook it in the oven. We're going to make our own dough. Come on along, you're going to like this one. If you like this recipe, check out all the other recipes. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like it and share it with all your friends. You know we appreciate it. Alright, this recipe is really simple, kind of straightforward. What I've got here, the 1 3/4 cups of water that I've heated up in the microwave to 109. You want to get it around that 110 to 115 degree range. 1 and 9 is going to work for me. So the reason we're doing that, we have to activate this yeast, and it seems to do best right in the 110 range. Now to that, our little yeasties are going to be hungry, so we're going to put in a teaspoon of just regular sugar, and we're going to stir that up. This is called proofing your yeast. Okay, that seems to be stirred up pretty good. Now we're just going to let that sit there and do its magic. And if it doesn't do any magic, your yeast is bad. Get some more yeast. So this calls for 2 teaspoons of sugar. We just put 1 in there. We're going to put 1 into our, this is 3 cups of bread flour. So I'm going to do 1 of those. This one is Italian seasoning. I'm going to give it 1 of those. These are all teaspoons. Now this one here is basil leaves. I'm going to give it 1 of those. And then, almost there, this is some Italian seasoning. Oh, no, sorry, I lied. We already did that. This is oregano. And then we have some salt. Once again, teaspoonful. Now the garlic. I'll take the lid off. And this is up to you, but we like garlic, so I'm going to give this thing, I don't know, right around 2. And that is our dough. We'll come back here in just a second and I'll show you what this yeast looks like when it starts to be ready to put in there. While we were gone, I cut all those seasonings into the flour, which is just a fancy word to saying I stirred it up, make sure it was mixed together really well. The other thing, you can see the head, little bubbles. That's what we're looking for. That means our yeast is good. Can you see that on the camera?
Yeah.
And on the top it looks frothy. So that's what we're looking for. Now we want to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Put that right into our liquid. I'm going to stir it up. And then make us a little hole here in the center. Start adding this yeast concoction in, making a mess while I'm doing it. Now you may not need all that water, and it was 1 3/4 cup. That's another reason we just added in there slow. And hopefully we do need it all. We want to get all that yeast in here, because this thing needs to rise twice. Still just a little bit dry. Let's put the rest in there. Now when you get this stirred up, if it happens to be just a little bit too wet, we're going to add some flour in there just a little bit at a time. Like probably a tablespoon, just small amounts. We got to get this to where we can handle it, because we have to hand knead it for probably 6 minutes. Just a small amount of flour. Alright, we're going to get the cutting board out and be back in just a second because we got to knead this for 6 minutes. I have a lightly floured, medium floured cutting board, and we're ready to start kneading this dough. So the first thing we have to do is get it out of the bowl and over here onto our cutting board. Okay, the next thing we want to do is keep our hands floured. Put some flour on the top, flour your hands. Gonna roll it around here for a second. Get some of that flour on it all. Okay, in pretty good shape there. So we're just going to push on it and pull it back. Push on it and pull it back. And I'm going to do this for 6 long minutes. It's 7:47. And if you can see that right there, we're going to do this for 6 minutes. Just push it out and pull it back. Push it out and pull it back. So, I'm going to sit here and do this for 6 minutes. And when 6 minutes is up, I'll be back. Okay, it's been 6 minutes of me sitting here pushing it out and pulling it back. So, now we got to make a mushroom. We're just going to sit here and do this for a couple of minutes. And I'll pull the top into the bottom. Make a little moon rock out of it. Okay, now we're going to take our little mound here. I'm going to put it in the middle of a bowl. Now we washed this bowl. Well, the camera babe washed the bowl while I was eating. And it's been oiled with some olive oil. So, here's where we're at. I'm going to take this piece of this cling wrap. Stretched out there, and then we're going to take some of this non-stick cooking spray and give it a coat. You want to be able to pull off this dough easy. That's the purpose of this. So you just want to take it and just kind of lay it lightly on top of your dough. And the reason we're doing that because it's a barrier. Tell you what, that flour does a great job of keeping your hands pretty clean. I mean, you're sitting there kneading that dough. My hands aren't that bad. And while you're kneading it, it's going to keep soaking in that flour. Just keep adding some flour onto your board and a little bit on your hands and a little bit across the top. But I mean, you keep working it there for 6 minutes. So we've got 2 towels. Just going to wrap this up. Put a towel that direction. Another towel over top of this. I'm going to put this into my warming box. If you have a cooler, you can probably just leave it set when it's warm out. Like right now, it's, you know, we're in kind of springtime here. But we're going to put this in a warming box. We're going to come back and look at it in an hour, and you're going to be surprised. It'll probably be filling that whole bowl. So we'll be back here in just a minute. All right, it's been an hour. We're going to look in on this. What are you guessing?
It's going to be to the top.
I'm going to think, yeah, it looks a little poofy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's unwrap it and see what we got. Ta-da! Look at that. That is full. Okay, this is why we put the that no stick cooking spray on this piece of plastic, because we would never get that off if we hadn't have done that. And if you do it like that, look, nothing on there. Okay, we got to save that because we got to use it again. So we're going to punch this down because we got to let this thing rise again for another hour. Just kind of pull it away from the sides and kind of put it back into, I guess, a little bit of the ball shape. But look how much bigger it is now. We're going to let that rise again. So you just want to Just loosely put your cling wrap barrier down so keep it off your towels. And then we're going to wrap this back up. I'm going to put it back into the warming box, and I'll see you again another 60 minutes. It's been 2 hours, and the dough rose again. It's actually wanting to come out of the bowl on that side. I want to shake it. Look at that. Very little dough on that plastic. So, we don't need that anymore. Okay. First thing we're going to do, we got our iron skillet here. We're going to spread that oil around on there, and this olive oil again. And I'm doing this now because once I get the dough pressed out where I want to put it in here, I don't want to have to stop and do this. So I want to get me a paper towel and take just a little bit of that oil out of there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And then we're going to take a little bit of this cornmeal and put a little bit in here. Shake it around. Get it up on the sides. See what I'm doing here. I'm just shaking it around, getting it up on the sides. That cornmeal is going to help us release this thing when it's done. So don't worry about getting it clear to the edge, because we can take a butter knife or a sharp knife and go around that edge. Plus, as it gets done, it's going to want to pull away, and that's going to work in our favor too. So, all right, shake the rest of those out in the sink, and there's our pan's ready for the crust. So, we got to start working on the crust. I'm going to take about half of this out of there. Let's put a little bit of oil on here. Just a little bit of oil on there. And we're going to, I want about half of this. That's probably pretty close. Okay, we're going to make us a ball. And we'll pull one from the top and into the bottom again. Alright. We're going to start pressing this out. Make us a circle. You want to end up with your dough about that height right there. Now I got this dough pressed out, but look, oh no, there's a hole in the bottom. What are we going to do with that? Don't sweat it. It's very forgiving. Just fill over the hole, Press it around, pinch it together, and no more hole. And by the time that cooks, you'll never know there was a hole there. So we're about ready to start this. You can see I got the dough pressed up the side, about halfway. And it took a few minutes. It probably took 5 or 6 minutes, but anyway, probably the next thing we need to do, since someone's giving me hints, we have to poke holes. Just take a fork and just poke into it.
What's that do?
Well, it stops air bubbles from forming while it's cooking.
Oh, okay.
At least that's the plan. Okay, it's time to build this beast. And since we're making deep dish, we can put lots of stuff in it. And we like, I guess we're going to make this kind of meat lovers. But you can put whatever you want in here. It's up to you. Alright. Pretty good layer of sauce. Now that sauce, I'm not sure what the name of it was, but we got it at GFS and it was in a great big huge container, and we froze some of it. That actually works very well on pasta too. It's a pretty good sauce. So we got that done. We're going to take some of this cheese, because what is cheese? It's our favorite vegetable. And we do have some vegetables going to go in this. But we're going to put some of this cheese in here to begin with. Start with a layer of cheese. You can never go wrong there. Okay, now I'm going to go with some pepperoni. You can put as much or as little of this as you like. You don't have to have the big pepperonis. The small ones work just as well. They seem to be a little bit easier to get apart too. That stuff's really stuck together. Okay. That's our pepperoni layer. Now we're going to go with some sausage. Now, since we're using raw sausage, you don't want to get carried away and put too big a piece on here. Just add it until you think it looks good. But I guarantee you, it's going to taste good. So I'm going to wash this sausage off my hands. We got 4 or 5 more things going to go on here. We'll be right back. And now we're doing pinches of ground beef. This is a meat lovers. So I have some ham here that I have cut up. We're just going to spread that around on the top. That's all the ham. Now let's go with some green peppers.
Now, what did you preheat your oven to?
I forget. 425. $4.25. Pizza's like a hotter temp. Probably could have went 450. You know, it just, you got to keep an eye on it. It'll get done. Just take a little bit longer at 425, and it's going to give it a little bit longer for those meats to cook inside here. So we want to make sure those are done. Now this is some sweet onion we're putting on here now. See, I remembered right, 425. Don't need that anymore. Last thing we're going to put on here, I have some banana peppers, but I wrapped them up in a paper towel and drained the juice off of them. That was the second paper towel. If you ever make a homemade pizza and you got a soggy pizza and you put mushrooms or banana peppers on it, if you don't dry those out in a paper towel like that, you're going to have a soggy pizza. I mean, if your pizza comes out and it's kind of soupy, which that can be good too, you got to eat it with a fork. But that's the cause. You got to get some of that liquid off of there. So we're getting really close here on these. And like I said, if you like mushrooms, if you like whatever you like on it, just, I mean, the sky's the limit. However you like your pizza, eat your pizza that way. It's all about the technique here, how we're doing this, and you're going to be surprised here in just a second because we're going to put another layer of cheese on. Give it a good layer. That looks pretty good. Okay. The next step in this, we're not going to put this right into the oven. I'm going to pull off this cutting board and I'm going to put it back here. It's warm back here where the oven's on. And we're going to let that sit for 10 or 15 minutes and be right back. Been another 15 minutes and you can see how this crust has risen. You know, it's going to be good. We're going to put this in the oven right now. The only thing I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to show you, you set that on your middle rack in the oven, and I have my handle facing this way, and here in about probably 10 or 15 minutes I'm just going to take and rotate that handle to the other side, and it's going to even the cooking on it. It's been 12 minutes, so we're going to look in on this, see how it's doing. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Here, I'll pour it out so you can see it. Look at that. Oh man, that's going to be good. We're going to spin that direction, and we're probably going to give it another, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But when this thing's done, we'll come back and show it to you. It's been about 27, 28 minutes, and this thing's done. So we're going to pull it up out of there. I did rotate it back and forth a couple times just to try to make it, or keep it even. So, I just want to go around, make sure it's not stuck, and then we need to transfer this out of this skillet, and we're going to stick it over here on this cutting board because I want to let it cool for probably 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll see how good we are. Oh, it's hot. We ain't that good, huh? It's hot. Alright. Get this going here. There we go. Ooh, that's hot. We ain't setting that nowhere except right there and let it cool off. So, that's going to sit there for just a few minutes. We're going to let it rest, and then we'll come back and slice into it. This is going to be good. I guarantee it. Okay, this thing is rested for about 5 minutes. We're going to cut into it, and we're going to see what's going on. But tell me, I mean, look at the crust. You saw how easy that came out of that skillet. That was that cornmeal. That cornmeal like makes an air barrier when it's cooking in there, and that just slides right out. Remember that trick. It works on a lot of stuff. So we'll go ahead and slice into this. A nice crispy crust. Okay, I guess we're ready to take a bite of this. dish pizza made fresh at home. You know what's in it, and I guarantee this is going to taste good. I guarantee it. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be good. Oh yeah! That's yummy. Try this one out. You won't be disappointed until next time. It Smokin.